Here's the starting point of generational study. Say hello to America's 5 living generations. The GI generation, born between the years 1901 and 1926. This is the generation immortalized by Tom Brokaw's book, The Greatest Generation. They've been described as the generation that saved the world and then built the greatest nation in the history of the planet. Of those who are still with us, their unique formative years began in very early childhood during the economic prosperity of the roaring 1920s, but were then followed by 16 consecutive years that to probably most of us in this theater and in this country are unimaginable. The complete misery and suffering of the Great Depression, followed by the unimaginable human slaughter and heartbreak of World War II. Those times, when coupled with the teachings that young GI kids were absorbing from their own generations of parents and educators and religious leaders, would mold in them a very unique set of core values that to this day guide their decision-making. The silent generation, born from 1927 to 1945, the white men of this generation have enjoyed the smoothest career passage in American history. Silent generation females have witnessed and influenced the before and after of the modern women's movement. Silent generation minorities have witnessed and influenced the before and after of the modern civil rights movement. The formative years for the silent generation were by and large the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and into the very early 60s, a time that is marked forever by its extreme, don't rock the boat, children should be seen and not heard, do as you're told, conformity. And by and large, this generation did not seriously rock the boat. That would be left to our next generation, the baby boomers. Born from 1946 to 1964, the generation whose motto once was, "Never trust anyone over 30," would now like to revise that. A population bulge that has been delicately described as the pig moving through the python. The baby boomers will rock the world from the beginning, and they are going to rock the world until they leave it. Generation X, mysterious, bewildering Generation X. Why are they so different from all of our other generations? Gen X. In so many ways, an island generation, a childhood like no other. Born from 1965 to 1981. I was giving a presentation in New York State not too long ago, and afterwards, Gen X woman came up with this sad, pathetic look on her face. She was facing her 40th birthday. She decided to treat herself by purchasing satellite radio for her car, only to learn the brutal reality that the music of her youth is now classic alternative rock. And there's another phenomenon occurring within Gen X right now, and it has a label, and it's actually measured every year in a national survey. Tattoo remorse. And in the most recent survey that I saw, tattoo remorse amongst tattoo Gen Xers was up 1 more percentage point to now 17% of them regret the decision way back then to get the tattoo. And finally, America's next great generation, and they're going to be great, but not before they drive their bosses a little nuts. The Millennials. Do not call us Generation Y. Do not call us Echo Boomers. Our parents are the baby boomers and the older Gen Xers, and like Mom and Dad, we've grown up cocky and sassy, and we think we're going to change the world for the better, so we probably are. Generational study is not trustworthy until we reach about age 18, and at the moment, 18-year-olds are still pouring into the millennial generation. Well, the premise of this program is very simple. If we Americans will understand our own generation and the other generations, the generation gaps will begin to do this. And right now, those generation gaps are crashing into all of our lives every day, in the workplace, in the living room at home, in our houses of worship, down at the corner tavern, everywhere. But generational study is finally in place to help us shrink the gaps. And here's the promise from the point of view of generational study. If we understand each other, and we now have the tool to do that, our country will take off in the next few years like a rocket ship. And when we do that and all 5 generations are pulling in the same direction, our nation will be absolutely unstoppable.